Some people lose the love of their lives because they never stop loving them. Others lose them because they never find the courage to say a single word. But sometimes, life gives one final chance, and what happens in that moment can change everything forever. Ethan Brooke spent 8 long years carrying a secret that slowly became part of his soul. Every sunrise reminded him of her, every quiet evening ended with memories he never shared, and every heartbeat whispered the same name, Emma Collins. She never knew that someone had been silently protecting her happiness from a distance, choosing her smile over his own dreams. Yet one rainy evening, when fate seemed ready to close the final chapter, Emma looked into Ethan's eyes and asked one simple question that shattered every wall he had built around his heart. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, true love, and second chances still exist in this world, please like this video, share it with someone who believes in love, leave a comment, and subscribe to the Unfolded Story Hub channel for more emotional stories that stay with you long after they end. Ethan had never imagined that love could be so quiet yet so powerful. He first met Emma during their final year of college. She wasn't the loudest person in the room or the one seeking attention. She simply carried herself with warmth that made everyone around her feel important. She remembered birthdays, encouraged classmates during difficult exams, and always smiled at people who felt invisible. Ethan admired her from across classrooms, libraries, and coffee shops, never expecting anything in return. He believed some people entered your life simply to remind you that goodness still existed. While others chased relationships built on excitement, Ethan quietly treasured every ordinary moment that placed Emma somewhere within his sight. He never interrupted her happiness, never competed for her attention, and never confessed what his heart had already accepted. After graduation, life carried everyone in different directions. Emma found work as an elementary school teacher in a small town nearby. Ethan became an architect in the city, spending long hours designing buildings while secretly building imaginary futures that always included her. Social media occasionally revealed pieces of Emma's life. He saw photographs of school projects, smiling children, family gatherings, and eventually pictures with another man named Daniel. The engagement announcement arrived one autumn evening, and Ethan stared at the screen until the room became blurry. Instead of anger, he whispered a quiet blessing, hoping she would receive every happiness life could offer. He deleted nothing, unfollowed nothing, and never reached out. Loving her silently meant respecting the life she had chosen, even if it broke him a little more each day. Years passed. Ethan became successful beyond anything he had expected. His company expanded, his designs won awards, and people admired his calm confidence. Yet his apartment remained strangely empty. Friends encouraged him to date again, insisting time healed everything. Ethan smiled politely because explaining silent love was impossible. It wasn't obsession or fantasy. It was gratitude for someone who had unknowingly taught him kindness, patience, and selflessness. Emma's memory had become less like a wound and more like an old photograph carefully folded inside his wallet. Then tragedy quietly entered Emma's world. Her fiancé passed away unexpectedly after a sudden illness only months before their wedding. Ethan learned about it from a mutual friend. The news struck him with conflicting emotions that filled him with guilt. He wasn't relieved. He wasn't hopeful. He simply hurt because someone he cared about was carrying unimaginable grief. Weeks later, he anonymously donated books and classroom supplies to Emma's school after learning budget cuts had affected her students. No card. No signature. Just kindness without recognition. Emma slowly returned to teaching, though everyone noticed the light in her smile had faded. She spent more time helping struggling children, perhaps because healing others distracted her from her own pain. One winter afternoon, Ethan happened to visit the school to discuss renovation plans. For the first time in nearly 8 years, they stood only a few feet apart. Emma recognized him instantly. Time had changed them both, adding maturity instead of distance. They exchanged warm smiles and spoke politely about careers, old classmates, and memories from college. Ethan carefully avoided mentioning the years between them. Emma thanked him for the generous donation, although she still didn't know he had been responsible. Ethan simply smiled and changed the subject. After that meeting, life unexpectedly crossed their paths again and again. Ethan volunteered during weekend community projects where Emma brought her students to plant trees or paint playgrounds. They shared coffee after charity events. They laughed about awkward college memories neither had forgotten. Their friendship grew naturally, built not on romance but on quiet understanding. Ethan remained careful. He never wanted Emma to feel pressured while healing from her loss. His love stayed silent because he believed timing mattered as much as feelings. Months became another year. Emma gradually rediscovered joy. She smiled more often, laughed without guilt, and inspired everyone around her once again. Yet she also began noticing something unusual about Ethan. Whenever she mentioned needing help, somehow it was already done. Whenever she felt overwhelmed, encouragement arrived without expectation. During storms, someone checked whether she had reached home safely. During difficult school fundraisers, anonymous donations mysteriously appeared. Ethan never asked for gratitude. He simply disappeared after making life easier for others. Emma eventually uncovered the truth through an elderly librarian who unknowingly mentioned Ethan's quiet generosity over many years. She discovered he had paid medical bills for strangers, funded scholarships, repaired playgrounds, and even supported her classroom long before they reconnected. None of it carried his name. Suddenly she began wondering how much of her own life had quietly been touched by hands she never noticed. One evening, after finishing a school charity concert, rain covered the streets exactly as it had years earlier when they first met outside the college library. Ethan offered to walk Emma to her car beneath one umbrella. They spoke little because comfortable silence had always belonged to them. The rain softened the noisy world around them until only falling drops and steady footsteps remained. Emma looked at Ethan differently that night. She realized that while many people had entered her life speaking beautiful promises, the man beside her had spent years proving love without ever demanding recognition. Standing beside her car, Emma finally gathered the courage to ask the question that had quietly lived inside her heart for weeks. She looked directly into Ethan's eyes and asked why he had never told her how he felt. Time seemed to stop. The rain continued falling, but Ethan could barely hear it over the pounding of his own heart. After 8 years of silence, countless sleepless nights, and thousands of unspoken words, the question he never expected had finally arrived. Ethan admitted that love had never been about winning someone. To him, loving Emma meant wanting her happiness even if it belonged to someone else. He explained that every time he considered confessing, life seemed to place her on a different path, and he refused to become another burden during her hardest moments. He confessed that silence had hurt, but regret would have hurt even more if speaking had stolen her peace. He had chosen patience over possession, kindness over selfishness, and hope over expectation. Emma felt tears roll gently down her face. For years she had searched for grand romantic gestures, never realizing the greatest love story had quietly unfolded beside her. She remembered every mysterious act of kindness, every perfectly timed encouragement, every comforting presence during difficult days. Suddenly the invisible pieces connected into one beautiful picture. Love had been there all along, never demanding applause, never asking to be seen. Months later, Ethan and Emma didn't rush into promises. They built something stronger than excitement. They built trust. Together they created a foundation that supported children, renovated neglected schools, and expanded educational programs for struggling families. Their relationship became an extension of the kindness that had first connected them. Friends often asked how they knew they were meant for each other. Emma would simply smile because some stories were too beautiful to explain with ordinary words. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who still believes in genuine love, and subscribe to the Unfolded Story Hub channel so we can continue bringing you stories that remind us humanity is still alive. Before we reach the end, we have one special request for you. Please leave a comment below and tell us this one thing. Have you ever loved someone in silence, or has someone quietly changed your life without asking for anything in return? Your story may inspire someone reading the comments today. Life rarely rewards the loudest hearts. Sometimes it quietly honors the ones that choose compassion over pride, patience over pressure, and unconditional love over selfish desire. Ethan waited not because he was afraid, but because he understood that real love is never measured by how loudly it speaks. It is measured by how faithfully it stays when no one is watching. And in the end, the question that changed both of their lives wasn't about romance at all. It was proof that kindness is never wasted, silent love is never truly invisible, and the purest hearts always find each other when the time is finally right.